Well, troops, we've made it through to video number 3. On this tape, we will explain the how-to of the main programmable features on the VT range. Please note this tape is not model specific. The features explained here appear on various models throughout the range. Also, this tape aims to explain the major functions available only, and as such is not a substitute for you working your way through the cars with the owner's manual. Keep in mind that the cars we're using here are straight off the truck with minimal Ks on the clock. So some of the trip computer readouts are a bit strange. In fact, some of them are right off the planet. So let's start with the sound system and clock settings on the base model cars. Okay, firstly, let's just do a little bit of programming on the clock and the sound system. Firstly, if we pop the radio on there, we're going to change the time firstly. Let's just turn that down a fraction. Press the time button, and with the time button depressed using the tune buttons, right hand side to adjust minutes, left hand side to adjust hours is simply how the clock is set. To then program in radio stations, firstly using the tune or seek buttons, select the radio station that you want to record. By pressing now, for example, number 1 on the FM, you'll hear a very brief mute. Let's just go to another station. Press number 2, again, very brief mute, just says that's been taken into memory. Let's turn that down again now for a second. You've got a total of 6 AM stations. You can do 12 FM stations on FM1, FM2. If you then want to adjust things like bass, etc., press the audio button. You'll find you've got bass there. You can adjust the bass. Press it again, adjust the treble, press for fade and press for balance, and that brings you back to normal display again. Pretty simple in terms of the overall programming of the radio. There is a CD input jack there as well that's available for your customers. The buttons for the trip computer are located to the left of the gauges. The single window for the trip computer is located directly beneath the gauges. The basic, more commonly used function of the trip computer are the odometer, which of course records kilometres travelled since the car was built. If we tap the mode button, it shows the kilometres travelled from the start of a particular trip. You reset the reading to 0 by pressing the up and down buttons together when this window is shown. Further tap on the mode button brings us to distance to empty. This is an estimate of how far your current fuel level will last. Final tap on the mode button brings you to the overspeed. You set the speed here that you don't want to exceed. Overspeed is adjustable in 5 km/h units, either up or down, and that works in speeds between 20 k's and 200 k's. You can tap the button up or down as required, or hold a button to scroll quickly to a speed. Alternatively, briefly press the up and down buttons together to set the overspeed to the speed at which the car is currently travelling. Press and hold both the up and down buttons for at least 2 seconds when this display is showing to turn the overspeed warning on or off. Overspeed presets can also be chosen. I'll explain that in more detail when we get into the programmable mode. We can also access some additional functions through the customised mode. What I'll do is I'll go through and program or reprogram the computer, and then we'll go back through the modes and see what we've now got on the trip display. The trip computer features can be customised. When the car is stationary, hold down the mode button while turning the ignition from off to on. The trip computer then steps you through a series of choices. Choice 1 is the odometer window, which can be shown or skipped using the up or down buttons to select yes or no. So we'll leave that as yes for the moment. Tap the mode button, takes us into the trip distance. The features again are available or skipped. We again use the up or down buttons, and again I'll choose yes by selecting what's there when it's flashing. Choice 3, by hitting the mode button again, is a new one. This is distance to go. This is the choice to activate an additional set of displays, distance to go and time to go. The distance to go at the start of a trip, estimate your distance to arrival from maps or road signs, etc. You tap the up or down buttons until the display shows your estimated trip distance. So if I've now activated yes, go to the next, it shows me 418. Let's just run that up a little bit here. What's a good number? There you go, 456 kilometres to go. Now, when you drive off, the trip computer constantly updates your time to arrival based on changing driving speeds. You can use the up or down buttons to adjust the kilometres anytime this display is shown. The time to go then will show the time to arrival in hours and minutes. The time to go is only shown if the distance to go is more than 0. Choice number 4 is adjust distance to go default setting. Now that's somewhat complex, so can I suggest you read the manual for full details of that particular function. If we hold down the mode button for 2 seconds when the overspeed display is shown, the display changes from normal overspeed to overspeed preset. P1, as you can see, is the first preset number with a default setting of 60 kilometres an hour. We tap the button up to see the second preset, which has a default setting of 80 kilometres an hour. P3 has a default setting of 100 kilometres an hour, and P4 is 110. We can tap the button up or down to move between the preset numbers. We can also alter those preset speeds. Again, can I suggest that you have a look at the owner's manual for the instruction on that. It's not all that difficult, but there isn't much point going through that in great detail here on the video. Okay, having customised the display, let's now just run through and see what my window's now telling me. If I have a look, I've got the odometer that I wanted there, that's still there. If I pop the button again, I've got the trip computer, I said I wanted that. I've now got this distance to go that I was talking about. I'm showing there that I've got 499 kilometres still to go. So if I pop that again, that tells me I should be in fact taking 81 hours and 10 minutes to do that, which means I'm either going to be driving real slow, or the computer can only at this stage base it on the fact that it's been driven on and off a truck a couple of times, so that will change obviously once I start driving. Pop that again, distance to empty of course is still there. If I pop that again, I've now got my overspeed. At the moment I'm showing 110. I can alter that down to perhaps 80 until I get out of the city, and then if I go one more again, I'm back to the odometer again. So what I've now done is set that to suit a particular set of functions that I want the computer to show for me for a trip that I'm going on. Okay, we're now in a Calais, and the programming of the clock and the radio is basically as we've already covered. So let's go straight to the trip computer with the triple window display. We can use the mode button to scroll between 3 sets of displays. You will notice that speed related displays are in the left window, distance related displays in the centre, and fuel related displays on the right. The trip computer can be reset when average speed or trip times are shown in the left window. Resetting does not affect the odometer, overspeed, distance to empty or instant fuel settings. Let's go through these windows in a little more detail. The average speed shows the average speed while the engine is running since the trip computer was reset. The odometer records kilometres travelled since the car was built. The average fuel shows the average fuel used since the trip computer was reset. After resetting, some large numbers may initially be shown due to the short distance travelled and the high fuel used when accelerating. Indeed, you'll note that our average fuel here is 99.9 litres per 100, which is a pretty fair indication that this car has literally just been driven on and off trucks a couple of times. If we hit the mode button, we find now we have trip time. This shows the engine running time since the trip computer was reset. Trip distance shows the kilometres travelled from the start of a particular trip. Fuel used shows the total litres of fuel used since the trip computer was reset. Next mode shows the overspeed, which of course sets the speed that you don't want to exceed. The programming of this function is as previously shown on the single window computer. The distance to empty is an estimate of how far your current fuel level would last. The instant fuel shows instantaneous fuel usage in litres per 100 kilometres when driving. Additional displays can be activated utilising the customised mode, which I have just done. Time to arrival and distance to arrival are again as previously covered. Remaining fuel shows the litres of fuel left in the fuel tank rounded to the nearest 5 litres. An additional function is the Trip B display. When the above set of windows are turned on and are showing, hold the mode button down for 2 seconds. Now, instead of the above displays, the trip computer shows trip time, trip distance and fuel used for Trip B. This function can be used for monitoring a long trip, while the original display can be used for short distances during the same journey. The overspeed adjusting is again as per the single window. The climate control, air conditioning and the steering wheel mounted radio controls really are very user friendly, and it's worth just referring to the owner's manual for the operation of those particular functions. But this leads us now to the headlights. These can be made to automatically switch off after you've locked the car and walked away. Useful for illuminating a path or doorway. To set or adjust the time delay from when the driver's door is opened to when the lights automatically switch off, firstly, turn the ignition on, switch the park lights on. Hold the tab for the instrument lighting in the dim position, switch the ignition off. Open the driver's door. This starts the delay period. Wait the desired delay time. That's a maximum of 3 minutes. Release the tab for the instrument lighting. The park lights go out and the time delay is set. If you wish to have the lights on for a period longer than 3 minutes, wait until the lights have automatically switched off, then turn the light switch off, then on again.
Well, as you are now aware, the VT model lineup is truly a remarkable range of motor vehicles.
It's certainly been exciting for us to be able to be a part of this video presentation.
We trust that the information that we've passed on will make it just a little easier for you to then share that excitement with your customers.
Enjoy VT and, as always,
Have fun selling!